Okay, oleh kerana banyak tentangan, jadi British pun telah bersetuju untuk maksudnya perbicaraan ke arah Malaysia ni sangat panjang dan kompleks lah, sebabkan ada banyak tentangan-tentangan ni. Banyak perkara yang dipertimbangkan dan diatasi sebelum dapat direalisasikan. Beberapa tindakan juga diambil untuk memastikan pembentukan ni puas hati, semua orang happy, tak ada orang marah-marah, tak ada orang gaduh-gaduh, okey, dan tak ada orang claim yang mereka ni telah diketepikan dalam membuat keputusan. Okey. So beberapa jawatan kuasa komiti telah dibentuk untuk menyelesaikan masalah ni. Okey. So pada Julai 1961, satu mesyuarat Persatuan Parlimen Commonwealth PKK Cawangan Tanah Melayu dan Borneo telah diadakan di Singapura. Semasa mesyuarat ini, pemimpin-pemimpin Persekutuan Tanah Melayu dan Singapura telah mengambil peluang ini untuk menjelaskan konsep Malaysia kepada perwakilan Sabah, Sarawak dan Brunei yang hadir kepada mesyuarat tersebut. Penerangan ini didapati telah mengurangkan salah faham, terutama sekali di kalangan pemimpin tiga wilayah tersebut dengan penubuhan Malaysia. Kesan daripada persefahaman ini, mesyuarat telah bersetuju untuk menubuhkan jawatan kuasa perundingan perpaduan Malaysia. Jawatan kuasa ini dianggotai oleh wakil-wakil semua wilayah yang terlibat dalam pembentukannya. Sementara itu, Donna Stephen dilantik sebagai pengerusi jawatan kuasa tersebut. Namun, perwakilan Brunei menganggap diri mereka hanya sebagai pemerhati kerana ketidaksediaan Brunei menyertai gabungan. Memang daripada awal Brunei tak berapa sedia. Okey, secara amnya jawatan kuasa ini berfungsi untuk menerangkan dengan lebih jelas akan konsep Malaysia kepada orang ramai, khususnya penduduk Sabah, Sarawak dan Brunei. Untuk tujuan ini, jawatan kuasa telah mengumpul dan membandingkan idea-idea serta pendapat yang dikemukakan berhubung Malaysia. Keterangan-keterangan dan perbincangan akan dilaksanakan dengan lebih giat untuk menyegerakan lagi rancangan pembentukan Malaysia. Selain itu, jawatan kuasa juga seboleh mungkin berusaha mendapatkan kata sepakat daripada pemimpin-pemimpin politik di semua daerah terbabit. Semenjak pembentukan jawatan kuasa ini, mereka telah mengadakan perjumpaan sebanyak 4 kali, iaitu pertamanya di Jesselton dan keduanya di Kuching, yang ketiganya di Kuala Lumpur dan keempat di Singapura. Dalam perjumpaan-perjumpaan jawatan kuasa dan usaha-usaha dilaksanakan, ramai tokoh dari Tanah Melayu dan Singapura seperti Tunku Abdul Rahman sendiri, Ismail Yusof, Datuk Ong Yok Lim, Lee Kuan Yew memainkan peranan sangat penting. Perjumpaan-perjumpaan ini diadakan dengan pemimpin-pemimpin Sabah Sarawak mendatangkan hasil yang baik. Okay, mereka melakukan beberapa perjumpaan untuk membincangkan maksudnya penyertaan Malaysia, penyertaan negara-negara ini ke dalam Malaysia. So antara pemimpin-pemimpin ni semua tolong explain pada rakyat-rakyat dia. Okay, so yang seterusnya kita akan bincangkan Suruhanjaya Kobok. Suruhanjaya Penyiasat Borneo Utara atau Suruhanjaya Kobok telah ditubuhkan setelah satu rundingan dibuat di antara Kerajaan Persekutuan Tanah Melayu dengan Kerajaan British pada bulan November 1961. Suruhanjaya ini dilantik secara rasmi pada 16 Januari 1962. Suruhanjaya ini dipanggil Suruhanjaya Kobok sempena nama ketuanya iaitu Lord Kobok. Lord Kobok seorang berbahasa Inggeris. Ahli-ahli Suruhanjaya ini ialah Lord Kobok, bekas Governor Bank England sebagai ketua, Anthony Abel, David Watterson yang mewakili Kerajaan British, sementara Datuk Wong Pao Ni dan Tan Sri Muhammad Ghazali Syafi'i sebagai wakil Kerajaan Persekutuan Malaysia Tanah Melayu. Kerajaan United Kingdom, Kerajaan Persekutuan Tanah Melayu bersetuju bahawa dengan memasukkan Borneo Utara dan Sarawak bersama-sama negeri lain dalam Persekutuan Malaysia yang disyahadatkan itu, banyak faedah diperolehi oleh rakyat negara-negara berkenaan. Matlamat penubuhan Suruhanjaya Kobok adalah untuk menyiasat fikiran rakyat Borneo Utara dan Sarawak berkenaan hal dan membuat syur-syur telah menimbulkan fikiran itu. Suruhanjaya ini menjalankan tugasnya selama 2 bulan bermula pada 19 Februari 1962 dan berakhir pada April 1962. Dalam tempoh 2 bulan tersebut, Suruhanjaya Kobok telah mengadakan 50 perjumpaan di 35 tempat, iaitu 20 di Sarawak, 15 di Sabah, serta menemui lebih 4,000 orang mewakili kira-kira 690 buah kumpulan Selain itu, Suruhanjaya ini turut mempelawa dan menerima surat memorandum dari orang ramai menyuarakan pandangan mereka semasa menjalankan tugasnya. Suruhanjaya telah menerima lebih daripada 2,000 atau lebih kurang 600 pucuk surat dari Sabah dan Sarawak. Memorandum ini dikemukakan sama ada oleh lembaga bandaran, ketua-ketua kaum, majlis daerah, parti-parti politik, persatuan-persatuan, dewan-dewan perdagangan, pemimpin agama maupun orang persorangan. Daripada keseluruhan kerja atau tugas yang dilaksanakan oleh Suruhanjaya Kobot ini, jelas mereka membuat tinjauan dan penyiasatan secara menyeluruh mewakili sebahagian besar penduduk di kedua-dua wilayah tersebut. Suruhanjaya Kobot menamatkan penyiasatan pada 18 April 1962. Kemudiannya mengemukakan sebuah laporan penyiasatan kepada penduduk British dan Persekutuan Tanah Melayu pada bulan Jun 1962. Menurut laporan Suruhanjaya ini, lebih kurang 80% daripada penduduk Sabah dan Sarawak menyokong pembentukan dan sebahagian besar pada mereka adalah kaum Bumiputera. Secara keseluruhan, sokongan masyarakat Sabah dan Sarawak terbagi pada 3 golongan. 1/3 menyokong penuh pergabungan tanpa syarat. 1/3 turut menyokong tapi syarat-syarat terjaminan tertentu. 1/3 separuhnya mahukan kemerdekaan dahulu sebelum bergabung dan separuh daripadanya menentang kerana mahu kekal sebagai pemerintah dalam pemerintahan British. Bilangan yang menentang dicatatkan lebih kurang 20% sahaja. So seterusnya kita akan belajar jawatan kuasa antara kerajaan. Jawatan kuasa antara kerajaan. Selepas Suruhanjaya Kobot membuat laporan agak memuaskan, tugas untuk merangka syarat-syarat persekutuan secara terperinci telah dilakukan oleh jawatan kuasa yang dipanggil jawatan kuasa antara kerajaan, diketuai oleh Lord Lanslow yang bertindak sebagai pengerusi, Tun Abdul Razak sebagai timbalan pengerusi, wakil-wakil kerajaan British dan wakil-wakil kerajaan negeri Sabah, Sarawak dan Singapura. Jawatan kuasa ini telah membentuk satu perlembagaan khususnya melibatkan permintaan Sabah Sarawak berdasarkan memorandum yang diterima daripada parti-parti politik di Sabah dan Sarawak. Laporan yang dibuat menggunakan Perlembagaan Persekutuan Tanah Melayu, Suruhanjaya Kobot serta cadangan yang dibuat oleh Jawatan Kuasa Perunding Perpaduan Malaysia sebagai asas. Perlembagaan dibentuk ni telah disahkan oleh British pada 9 Julai 1983. Antara perkara teras utama dalam perlembagaan tersebut adalah agama Islam, agama rasmi Persekutuan Tanah Melayu kecuali Sabah dan Sarawak. Bahasa Melayu dijadikan bahasa rasmi Persekutuan Malaysia, tapi kelonggaran diberikan kepada Sabah dan Sarawak untuk menggunakan bahasa Inggeris dalam perkara-perkara rasmi selama 10 tahun selepas kemasukannya ke dalam persekutuan. Kuasa kawalan imigresen Sabah dan Sarawak diserahkan kepada negeri masing-masing walaupun peruntukan tersebut di bawah kawalan pusat. Ini adalah untuk memberi keyakinan kepada Sabah dan Sarawak bahawa tujuan Tanah Melayu bukanlah untuk menjajah negara tersebut. Sistem pendidikan masih dikekalkan sehingga Majlis Negeri membuat pindaan. Sabah Sarawak diberikan 24 buah perwakilan parlimen, manakala Sarawak diberikan 16, Singapura 15 buah kerusi. Seterusnya kita akan belajar mengenai referendum Singapura. Pemisahan Singapura. Semenjak Singapura menyertai Malaysia, banyak perselisihan yang timbul antara kerajaan Singapura dan kerajaan persekutuan di Kuala Lumpur. Perselisihan ini menjadi semakin rumit dan melibatkan banyak isu yang tiada akhirnya. Malahan tidak mungkin juga untuk Singapura terus kekal dalam Malaysia tanpa suasana tegang yang boleh dicetuskan keganasan. Para pemimpin Malaysia terutamanya Tunku Abdul Rahman berpendapat wajar Singapura berpisah daripada Malaysia sebagai jalan keluar terbaik untuk mengatasi masalah krisis yang timbul demi kepentingan perpaduan kaum, kestabilan ekonomi dan menghindarkan konflik politik yang berterusan. Akhirnya Singapura berpisah dari Malaysia. Faktor kenapa Singapura berpisah dengan Malaysia? Faktor perlembagaan. Kebanyakan soal berkaitan dengan perlembagaan berkisar tentang isu ekonomi kewangan. Mengikut perjanjian Malaysia, Singapura diberi kuasa untuk memungut cukai kastam, cukai eksais dan cukai pendapatan. Selain dari beberapa kekecualian, semua hasil yang dikutip dibahagikan berasaskan 60% untuk Singapura dan baki 40% untuk kerajaan persekutuan. Oleh sebab beban cukai Singapura yang paling ringan dan utamanya perbelanjaan pertahanan akibat konfederasi, kerajaan persekutuan bercadang mengkaji semula agihan hasil dalam dan Singapura perlu menyerahkan 60% daripada jumlah hasilnya, bukan 40%, seperti yang dipersetujuinya. Cara ini dibantah oleh Singapura kerana mengikut Pengajian Malaysia, terdapat satu persetujuan bahawa sehingga bulan Disember 1968, Kerajaan Persekutuan perlu mendapat kemenangan kerajaan Singapura sebelum mengenakan cukai import baharu. Kemenangan itu boleh ditangguhkan jika sesuatu jenis cukai itu boleh menjejaskan perdagangan bebas Singapura. Pada bulan Disember 1964, apabila Kerajaan Persekutuan membentangkan Belanjawan pada tahun 1965, terdapat pelbagai cukai baharu yang dikenakan. Kerajaan Singapura membantah mengenai pengenalan cukai-cukai baharu ni kerana mereka dikatakan tidak dibawa berunding terlebih dahulu pada akhir bulan. Sebab seterusnya adalah persaingan politik antara PAP dan MCA. Seperti kita faham, kedua-dua parti politik ini mewakili orang Cina dan mempunyai penyokong masing-masing. Tapi di sini mereka telah bersaing. Okey. Keadaan ini dilihat apabila September 1963 Lee Kuan Yew telah menyatakan bahawa kegiatan politik PAP hanya terbatas di Singapura dan PAP tidak bercadang untuk mengambil alih dalam pilihan raya Tanah Melayu pada tempoh 5 tahun selepas penyatuan. Kemudian PAP mengubah keputusan itu dan bertanding dalam pilihan raya di Tanah Melayu. Pada masa tersebut, Tunku Abdul Rahman menegaskan bahawa PAP tidak diperlukan di Tanah Melayu dan sifatnya sebuah parti perkauman Cina. PAP terlalu awal dalam kegiatan politik Tanah Melayu juga menjejaskan perpaduan kaum, terutama hubungan UMNO dengan MCA. Malahan PAP dikatakan tak berminat untuk menggantikan MCA untuk mewakili kaum Cina dalam kerajaan berdekatan. So telah nampak macam satu persaingan di situ. Okey, masalah perkauman ni dapat dilihat pada hubungan antara UMNO dan PAP yang menjadi semakin renggang akibat beberapa peristiwa berlaku di Singapura. Setelah mencari Malaysia, orang Melayu di negeri itu terasa mereka diabaikan. Kerajaan Singapura tidak mengambil tindakan untuk membaiki kedudukan mereka. Oleh itu, beberapa pertubuhan diwakili orang Melayu menumpui Tunku Abdul Rahman untuk melakukan perkara itu. Keadaan ini menjadi lebih rumit apabila Setiausaha Usaha UMNO Syed Jaafar Albar menuju pemimpin PAP Lee Kuan Yew cuba memecahkan perpaduan masyarakat Melayu di Singapura. Kerajaan Singapura pula sering mengecam golongan yang disifatkan sebagai pelampau dalam kerajaan persekutuan, terutamanya Syed Jaafar Albar yang dituduh oleh para pemimpin PAP sebagai bertanggungjawab menyebabkan tercetusnya rusuhan kaum di Singapura pada bulan Julai dan September 1964. So mereka selalu bergaduh di parlimen. Okey. Sikap para pemimpin politik di Singapura memperjuangkan konsep Malaysia juga diorang disayangani oleh pemimpin UMNO. Konsep ini sudah mengenepikan institusi mencabar kedudukan istimewa orang Melayu. Pada bulan Mei 1965, Lee Kuan Yew menubuhkan Malaysia Solidarity Convention, iaitu pakatan di kalangan parti pembangkang dengan slogan A Democratic Malaysia menandingi parti perikatan. Dia menyuruh diwujudkan satu persamaan hak bagi semua melalui satu ideologi politik, sosial dan ekonomi untuk semua kaum. Bukan negeri-negeri Tanah Melayu, Singapura, Sabah dan Sarawak, Persekutuan Tanah Malaysia juga ditimbulkan oleh para pemimpin Singapura. Mereka menggalakkan agar negeri-negeri menimbulkan soal perbezaan taraf, ekonomi dan prinsip-prinsip perlembagaan telah disetujui oleh setengah pemimpin Sabah dan Sarawak dan lain-lain negeri bertindak balas. Memandangkan sebagian besar daripada pembangkang daripada bukan Melayu, keadaan seolah mencerminkan penentangan mereka terhadap orang Melayu dan menguasai kerajaan. Keadaan berlaku bukan lagi berbentuk pertikaian PAP dan UMNO, tapi menunjukkan rebutan kuasa antara orang Melayu dengan bukan Melayu. Jadi hubungan tegang antara kerajaan persekutuan akhirnya tiba di kemuncak menjelang Mei 1965 hingga menimbulkan kebimbangan Tunku Abdul Rahman yang berpendapat bahawa Singapura perlu disingkirkan dari Malaysia. Tunku Abdul Rahman telah membuat pengumuman rasmi di Parlimen dan membentangkan rang undang-undang pemisahan di Parlimen. Rang undang-undang tersebut diluluskan dan tiada menentang atau berkecuali. Keputusan itu diambil tanpa kehadiran wakil Singapura. Akhirnya dia telah menamatkan pertikaian politik antara Malaysia dan Singapura. So akhirnya Singapura telah dikeluarkan daripada Persekutuan Malaysia. So itu sahaja untuk minggu ini. Kita akan sambung lagi next week. Jangan lupa.
They're not sure about that because some of us have never been to Sabah and Sarawak before that.
Generally, we did not understand the complexity of the population there. We had assumed that the tribal people were like our orang asli, which was ridiculous.
Regardless, the majority in the alliance put their trust in Tunku.
Although a lot of us were ignorant about the proposal, but I think we had faith in our leaders. That, I think, gave us the confidence that I think Malaysia will work.
Merger is rapidly proving to be an uphill battle for those planning it.
They were concerned about putting this puzzle together of these different territories with different histories and at different stages, I suppose, in their political and economic development.
On the northeastern tip of the great island of Borneo is Sabah, the home of the Dusun, the Murut, the Bajau and other races. Brunei, the ancient Malay Sultanate, which during the 15th century dominated almost the whole of Borneo. Largest of the three Borneo territories to join in the proposed federation is Sarawak, the land of the Dayak and Iban, Kenyah and Puna. Sarawak too has many Malays and Chinese among her people.
In the east, things are not looking any brighter. The Borneo leaders are apprehensive about the idea of merger.
The Borneo territories and Malaya had hardly anything in common. In Malaya, you have, for example, you have Sultan, you have King, you have three mainstream races, whereas in Borneo now has more than 40 ethnic communities.
People in Sarawak at that time, the level of education is still very limited. The understanding of what's happening outside is quite restricted. So their concern was, if Malaysia, as they understood it, were to happen, what role can they play?
The political environment in North Borneo, Sarawak and Brunei were very different. You didn't have political parties, you didn't have a group of people who were very interested in politics. What you have was individual leaders within the community who were starting to have an interest in politics.
The Borneo people are wary about the intentions of the Tunku and Lee Kuan Yew.
Lee Kuan Yew wanted a federation between Malaya and Singapore. It made a lot of sense because Singapore had no natural resources. Tunku, on the other hand, look at if only Malaya and Singapore federate, possibility the Malay will be outnumbered by the Chinese. And Tunku, without even having set foot in the Borneo territories, try rope in the Borneo territories. So they both want Malaysia for different reasons.
Tunku heads to Borneo on a diplomatic mission.
It was alleged that the leadership in Malaya at that time was too assumptuous that Sabah and Sarawak were just like Malays. My complaint was that lots of Malayans, people from UMNO, for example, who visited there, they would make a speech, they will come out and Assalamualaikum, come out with hadiths, everything else. Then after the event, you realize the whole group was a group of Christians.
I think the Tunku probably was naive in thinking, if we get these Borneo people, they're just like us, and that will, racially, so on and so forth, it's a counterweight to the Chinese, job done. And it wasn't as simple as that, of course.
An influential North Borneo leader emerges to oppose this plan, together with leaders from Parti Rakyat Brunei and the Sarawak United Progressive Party, or the SUPP.
There was quite a groundswell of opposition to Tunku, and he went on a number of goodwill visits. It really stirred up a lot of bad will.
After the trip to Borneo, Tunku is unsure about the future of merger. The divide between the people of Borneo and Malaya seems too wide.
In North Borneo and Sarawak, there was no religious factor. For example, the development of UMNO and PAS in Peninsular Malaysia or Malaya was all about Islam, Malay nationalism and protection of the sultans. These were non-issues in North Borneo and Sarawak because simply Islam was not a factor.
Without the participation of the Borneo states, the demographic balance will not be to Tunku's liking. Tunku is adamant that the Borneo leaders must agree to the proposal if any progress is to be made. The Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, realizes he must take up the challenge.
I was told that the man who really wanted Malaysia to come into being, apart from the British, was Lee Kuan Yew himself.
Lee Kuan Yew is a real strong man. Everything he wants, he must get it. That is his character.
He wants to make a success. He wants to create this Malaysia. So if those people are not joining, I will go and tell them how good it is. It's not so much Tunku asking him. He wants it.
Malaya's Prime Minister, Tunku Abdul Rahman, needs the consent of North Borneo, Sarawak and Brunei to form a greater federation together with Singapore. Singapore's Prime Minister, Lee Kuan Yew, is determined to work hard to persuade them. But first, Tunku extends an invitation to the Borneo leaders to visit Malaya.
Meanwhile, representatives from Sabah and Sarawak called on the Malayan Prime Minister to obtain a first-hand idea of what the Malaysia plan would mean for their countries. In his usual sincere and frank manner, the Tunku explained that Malaysia would not only hasten their independence, it would bring untold benefits as well.
During the visit, Tunku's deputy Razak Hussain explains to the Borneo leaders the progress made since independence.
Most of us have some inkling of what Malaya was all about. It is not only Merdeka, it is Merdeka with an effort to develop our country to be better.
Razak takes the Borneo leaders on a tour.
We want to find out what is this proposal really about. We were shown around a lot of schools, a lot of new roads, a lot of new water supply, electricity. I was really impressed with the development that had been shown to us. And I even said this, that even besok pun saya bersedia masuk Malaysia.
Next, members of the legislative assemblies of Singapore, Malaya, Sarawak, Brunei and North Borneo decide to proceed with formal discussions regarding the idea.
The members decided to set up the Malaysian Solidarity Consultative Committee, and they discussed this idea that Tunku articulated in May.
Surprisingly, the committee appoints the skeptical North Borneo leader, Donald Stevens, as their chairman. For months, he has shown reluctance to the idea of bringing North Borneo to merge with Malaya. It is Singapore's Lee who recommends that Stevens heads the committee.
Kuan Yew was a very good personal friend of Donald Stevens. They meet up quite regularly, even before the idea of Malaysia was touted. They had a fair idea of how to work together.
The Malayan and Singapore leaders look at Donald Stevens as the most influential, the most articulate, and possibly at the time, the most literate of the Borneo Territories leaders.
Sambutan tiba serta-merta. Ahli-ahli mesyuarat dari ke-5 wilayah itu melapaskan kesanggupannya atas gagasan Malaysia itu. Persetujuan ini adalah satu keagungan dalam persidangan pertama Jawatan Kuasa Perunding Setiakawan Malaysia di Jesselton pada bulan Ogos tahun itu.
Discussions are intense and many issues are debated. Ultimately, it comes down to one question.
There is nothing else they really want to find out but to find out from us or from the people, whether we want Malaysia or whether we do not want Malaysia.
Of course, Sabah and Sarawak, they're practically new to this idea. They're not so sure about their future. So instead of coming along with this idea of Tengku forming Malaysia, they were thinking of banding together with the 3S, Sabah, Sarawak, Singapore. They finally came to a resolution that all these territories should be one, including Brunei.
The committee recommended the continuation of the present system of the appointment of His Majesty the Young Di-Pertuan Agong as sovereign ruler of the new federation. The new states would each have its own head of state and its own constitution. Although Islam would be the official religion, there would be complete freedom of worship.
But the work is not completely done. While the MSCC is holding discussions, Singapore's Prime Minister Lee is facing tough opposition to merger in his own country. His opponents in the Socialist Front, or Barisan Socialist, say that the process must not be rushed. But Lee Kuan Yew has made merger a key pillar of his manifesto. Lee knows he must win the Singaporean public to his side.
Good evening. Soon, you will have to decide on your future. In the next few months, we shall settle the constitutional arrangements for merger. Merger is going to take place, not just because it's the desire of the PAP, or merely because it is the wish of the Federation Alliance government. It is as inevitable as the rising and setting of the sun.
He engages in a series of 12 radio broadcasts.
The battle for merger was really a battle for the hearts and minds of the population in Singapore, because it pretty much at that time determined whether or not Singapore would go it alone or become independent as part of a larger political entity.
Oh yes, it worked very hard for the better for the merger. We were over the radio to tell people the merger with the Malaya is good for Singapore. Singapore cannot survive by itself.
Through the radio talks, Lee Kuan Yew cautions the public about a grave threat in Singapore.
If we did not join Malaya and form Malaysia, we can have a big problem with the communists.
He uses this to drive home the idea that merger would suppress or even eliminate the threat of communism in the region.
The idea that the communist forces were advancing throughout Southeast Asia was very much a concern and fear amongst the non-communist governments and societies in Southeast Asia. So the next question was, what's going to happen to Singapore and Malaya? Very much a front in the Cold War as well.
Lee Kuan Yew works tirelessly day and night. In the next few weeks, he uses valuable airtime to ensure Singaporeans understand the urgent need to win the battle for merger. Meanwhile, the Malaysia Solidarity Consultative Committee, or MSCC, continues its meetings.
At the third meeting in Kuala Lumpur, the Prime Minister Tunku Abdul Rahman declared that all states in Malaysia would enjoy equal rights and status. But due to the special position of Singapore, the city-state would retain local powers in labour and education. The meeting discussed the economic and financial implications of Malaysia and what it meant in terms of national development. Piece by piece, the Malaysia jigsaw fell into place to produce a glowing picture of a vigorous young nation in the making.
It was Lee Kuan Yew who managed to swing their thinking around so that they would band together and support Tengku's idea.
And Tunku's plea of good faith assures the Borneo leaders that the future is bright.
Malaysia could not have been formed in spite of the hard effort put in by Lee Kuan Yew, if not for the fact that Tengku gave his personal assurances that he will definitely take care of the people of Sabah and Sarawak, not to worry, for as long as he is the leader of this newly formed federation.
If you put your faith in his hand, he will look after it and with all the sincerity at his commands. Because of that, I think it was very easy for us to sell Malaysia.
The successful ending of the conference was celebrated by a big cultural show in which all the countries of the new nation were represented.
The Malaysian Solidarity Consultative Committee proves to be a great platform for the leaders to discuss Malaysia. In November 1961, Tunku, Lee Kuan Yew and the British Prime Minister, Harold Macmillan, meet in London to advance discussions about Malaysia.
The conference of November 1961 agreed two principles. The first was that British defence interests in Singapore would be preserved, and the other was that the wishes of the Borneo people should be consulted, should be ascertained.
The British established a commission of inquiry to listen firsthand to the people of Borneo about their concerns on Malaysia.
Suruhanjaya Kabul yang memulakan kerjanya dalam bulan Februari 1962 menarik minat ke 55 wilayah. Maksud tugasnya ialah untuk menentukan pendapat orang-orang Sabah dan Sarawak terhadap pembentukan Malaysia itu dan membuat syur-syur yang sewajarnya.
It was chaired by Lord Cobbold, a former governor of the Bank of England, and on it were two representatives of Malaya and two representatives of the British side, who were there to, I suppose, protect the interests of the Borneo peoples.
Even at that time, there were still pockets of reservation in Sarawak. Not so much then from people from the up rural country, but certainly within the more urban, particularly the Chinese component, there was still resistance to the idea of Malaysia. One of the arguments used to promote the idea of Malaysia is this sense of security. That security is, if you own, you will not be safe.
In the end, the voice of the people is heard.
Tunku Abdul Rahman in particular keep on assuring that there was no plan to colonize Sarawak. It is not Malaya's intention to do that. What he wanted was a merger of people who he said were from the same stock generally. While Malaya was prepared to share their expertise, it will give them better prospect of sharing their resources.
When we put this idea to the vast majority of the people of Sarawak, said, why not? We would like to be part of Malaysia.
They went around Sabah, Sarawak, persuaded the people. They were accompanied by the leaders who said, it's good for you.
Before going back home, Soviet Premier Khrushchev gets in some parting shots at the United Nations.
Могила колониальному рабству! Долой его и похоронить его чем глубже, тем лучше!
Not since the Second World War has so much animosity and division existed between two superpowers. One of the Soviet Union's allies in Southeast Asia is uneasy with the developments in the region.
He saw the creation of Malaysia as actually a neo-colonial creation of the British. In other words, the British in name pulled out, but actually they are still there through their proxies in Tunku and Lee Kuan Yew.
President Sukarno stokes the fires on the international stage to divert attention from issues at home.
Sukarno had a lot of domestic problems. He was making a very delicate balance between the communists and the military who hated each other, and he was maintaining that balance. Now, so he decided that the best way to deal with that was to turn attention outside. So when the idea of Malaysia was mooted, he said, what is this?
A diplomat at heart, Malaya's Prime Minister Tunku Abdul Rahman tries to persuade Sukarno to back down from his aggressive stance. Nothing must come in the way of forming Malaysia.
Babak seterusnya kini beralih ke London. Persidangan penting mengenai Malaysia diadakan di antara pemimpin-pemimpin Melaya dengan jemaah Menteri British. Asas perbincangan ialah laporan Suruhanjaya Kabul. Selepas sekian berunding, Tengku Abdul Rahman dan Perdana Menteri British Tuan Harold Macmillan pun mewujudkan perjanjian bersejarah atas Malaysia itu. Agung dalam persetujuan itu ialah masa peralihan dan penyerahan kedaulatan.
The date has been set in London for the new federation to be formed. As with the Merdeka mission in 1956, when Malaya secured its independence, Tunku once again has shown a deft touch when negotiating the formation of a new nation. And he is one step closer to forming one of the biggest territories in Southeast Asia.
Jalan untuk tertubuhnya negara baru Malaysia itu sudahlah terbentang dengan jelasnya. Inilah yang dikehendaki satu teladan. Karena dunia pada waktu ini bergaduh berbagai-bagai, bergaduh kerana kelas orang ni lain, bergaduh kerana bangsa orang ni lain, bergaduh kerana bahasa orang ini lain, bergaduh kerana agama orang ini lain. Tapi bagi pihak kita, kita boleh hidup dengan baik, dengan manis muka, dengan perasaan kasih mesra antara satu dengan lain. Tidak terkira apa bangsa, apa agama, apa rupa, apa kulit, apa pun kita tak kira, asal kita boleh duduk sama sekali sebagai satu bangsa. Hidup Malaysia! Hidup Malaysia! Merdeka Malaysia! Merdeka Malaysia! Saya minta rakan saya Encik Lee Kuan Yew bagi sepatah doa cakapan kepada tuan-tuan. Sudah 100 lebih tahun Singapura menjadi satu pusat perniagaan dalam Asia Tenggara. Dan 1,600,000 lebih orang di Singapura adalah kebolehan, keusahaan yang boleh menolong negeri kita menjadi satu negeri yang lebih bahagia. Itulah maksud Persekutuan Malaysia. Bukan sebagai Radio Moskow cakap ini apa penjajahan yang baru. Kalau bukan kaki tangannya kuasai negeri, dia kata itu penjajahan baru. Tapi kalau kaki tangannya sendiri, dia kata itu bagus, itu kemerdekaan yang bebas, dia kata.
And of course, Kuan Yew cried, because all the things he had done went up in smoke, and Malaysia was not going to be the way it was conceived.
Triumphant moment for the Tunku and his associates.
The formation of Malaysia was squeezed in a very short period of time amidst a lot of uncertainties and also mutual suspicions from many parties.
He saw the creation of Malaysia as actually a neo-colonial creation of the British. In other words, they are still there through their proxies.
Jalan untuk tertubuhnya negara baru Malaysia itu sudahlah terbentang dengan jelasnya.
And well may the people rejoice in the Alliance victory. They are tasting the first fruits of democracy, the power to express their wishes through the secret ballot.
The Malays became very politically aware to the extent that they went to the level of seeking independence.
As president of the United Malays National Organization, or UMNO, Tunku Abdul Rahman and his party were given a strong mandate by the people of Malaya.
The British felt that the UMNO elites represented the Malay society that was there even before the coming of the British. So the British saw that in order to bring Malaya towards self-government or independence, you need to work with a party that would accept the monarchy as one of the various organs that would manage the country. And UMNO was that.
Predictably, the Malays are receptive to UMNO's role in running the country. However, the country's non-Malays were mostly immigrants who came to work here.
At that time, by wanting to have independence, you must accept the reality that there were Chinese and Indians in the country. And the British persuaded them that it would be easier to hand over independence to a multiracial representation rather than only Malay.
Political maturity brought these groups together to form the alliance.
Our political history is a history of politics of compromise and accommodation. We say, let us share power. Let us work together. Let us give citizenship to those who are born at certain period, certain time.
The alliance by itself shaped the political reality of 1950s Malaya. This seemingly ad hoc coalition helped shape British ambitions for the region.
I think it is the beginning of the grand design, when they have an opportunity to start afresh and to go back into Malaya with a plan which they hoped would presage eventually a self-governing Southeast Asia dominion. And there was a lot of debate. Well, what will the union comprise? Should it comprise the 9 Malay states and Penang, Malacca and Singapore? Or is Singapore a special case?
Malaya's success in negotiating for independence gives hope to David Marshall, the Chief Minister of Singapore. However, the British have unique plans for Singapore.
People of Singapore, we came to London full of hope, full of faith in the justice and the reasonableness of the people of England. I cannot tell you how hard we have struggled, how much we have hoped, and how deeply sorry we are to have failed.
But ultimately, it was decided that Singapore, after the war, should be a separate colony. On the grounds of its status as a base, it must return to its military function, and also on the grounds of its economic, its trading activity.
Dejected by the outcome, Marshall resigns as Chief Minister of Singapore. His successor, Lim Yew Hock, tries a different approach in pursuit of independence.
There was a suggestion, even at the last minute, that there might be an attempt to try, even at this point, to try and integrate Singapore within the Federation of Malaya.
However, Tunku is not interested in welcoming a new state to his federation. He already has 11 to administrate. On the 31st of August 1957, Tunku announces Merdeka in Malaya, and Singapore can only watch from the sidelines. The island state will have to find another route to independence. Singaporeans are disappointed by the British decision to not grant Singapore independence, but instead maintain the island as their colony.
there was an anti-colonial struggle raging in Southeast Asia, and we identified ourselves with the anti-colonial struggle. And in fact, the purpose of going into the trade unions was to mobilize them as part of the anti-colonial struggle.
One of the trade unionists is the charismatic Lim Chin Siong, a co-founder of the newly formed People's Action Party, or PAP. Enraged by the union's demands and disruptions of peace, Chief Minister Lim Yew Hock incarcerates Chin Siong and several PAP leaders. One of the few party leaders to not get arrested is an ambitious lawyer. Lee Kuan Yew seizes the opportunity to prove his mettle.
The British were actually worried about the consequences of Lee Kuan Yew and the PAP winning power. And it was very much the case in the internal discussions that they were saying, let's wait and see.
Like Tunku, Lee uses the prospect of independence to bolster his election manifesto. When the day of the 1959 general elections arrive, Lee's campaign proves to be compelling. The PAP wins, and Lee is proclaimed as the first Prime Minister of Singapore.
British porticos in Singapore's centre remind you with a joke that the British made Singapore from the unsavoury lump of rock whose potentialities Stamford Raffles had the vision to grasp.
A few years after being elected to the government, support is waning for the People's Action Party, led by Lee Kuan Yew. Lee worries that he might lose the next election, which must be held within the next 2 years.
He was extremely unpopular by 1961. Many of the issues that were most important to Singaporeans, he could not solve right away. You can't turn the economy around overnight. You can't build new housing overnight. But what you can deliver to Singaporeans pretty much overnight is merger, as long as the Tunku and UMNO leadership agree. So what he needed was an issue that he could campaign on in 1963 and win the 1963 election.
But Singaporeans are divided over the proposal of merging with Malaya. One of the reasons is because the radical left-leaning members of the People's Action Party do not agree with Lee's idea of merger. In August 1962, after losing in a vote of confidence in the Singaporean Legislative Assembly against Lee Kuan Yew, the radical lefts in the PAP abandoned the party. They regather to form a new political party called the Socialist Front, or Barisan Socialis.
Barisan didn't want the merger because Barisan wanted an independent Singapore. PAP argued that Singapore's best prospects, right, were part of the Malayan Federation.
Barisan Socialis has constitutional concerns over the merger terms.
What Lim Chin Siong kept pointing out is that Singapore would be underrepresented in the Dewan Rakyat, right? We would only have 15 seats, whereas we're entitled to 24. So fundamentally, Singaporeans have fewer rights. Are we then just trading one colonial master for another?
In a sense, many of us also felt that if we can't get merger on our terms, then we're independent. And that time Lee Kuan Yew did not want independence, because Lee Kuan Yew himself told me that we cannot survive as an independent nation.
Lee wants to put an end to this debate once and for all.
Kopi susu gula kasih, kopi susu gula dipancing. Jikalau nona cintalah sungguh sayang, aduh jiwa sayang, jiwa manis terbayang-bayang.
He will let the Singaporean public decide through a referendum.
The PAP pushed through a form of a wording of the referendum that was only 3 options, all of which were yes, and all of which had different forms.
No matter which way you vote for merger lah. So we were in a position, how should the Barisan respond? If we say boycott the referendum, the next election, none of us will be on the electoral roll. So we can't afford that.
On the 1st of September 1962, Singaporeans wake up to decide the future of their country.
Singaporeans, when they walked into the ballot box, only saw these three options. And so what are they going to do? So obviously you have to vote for option A, right? It's not a good choice, but it's by far the best choice.
When the results are announced, the public has voted overwhelmingly for option A. It is a thunderous success for the People's Action Party. More importantly, Lee Kuan Yew emerges as the victor over his political nemesis.
He was, a Cambridge-trained lawyer. He understood the British legal parliamentary system, and he used that to great effectiveness to completely outmaneuver the Barisan.
In many aspects, he and his friends had better quality of leadership than us.
For the Singaporeans, merger is now imminent. They look forward to the new nation Lee had promised them. This is all welcome news for Tunku and his alliance members. But the problem does not end here.
So missiles of 1,500 miles range and more were pointing at American cities. From Russian ports for a long time now, military supplies have been sent to Cuba. Not only rockets, but bomb-carrying planes.
The world is on the brink of nuclear war. Uncertainty ripples through the world. It is especially felt by the British in the region and their major concerns with their weapons stockpile in Singapore.
The British apparently had stored nuclear weapons in Singapore, and this was not something which was widely known at the time, but has come to light relatively recently. It was very important that Singapore didn't fall to communist elements, because you can imagine that if the facilities fell to communist elements in the context of the Cold War, you really would have a second Cuba situation.
Another immediate crisis confronts the Tunku. In Brunei, the North Kalimantan National Army rebels attack British-owned oil fields and police stations. In Singapore, Barisan Socialist comes out in support of the rebels that is closely linked to Azahari, the leader of Parti Rakyat Brunei.
We support Azahari because he is anti-colonial, but we don't support him in any other way. We don't give him money, we don't give him guns, we have no guns, we don't give him anything. Right. It was moral support, yes.
It was Lim Sin Siong's naivety, I suppose, to offer that support in principle for the Brunei Revolt. He was linked with the Brunei Revolt openly because of the meeting with Azahari.
This development worries Tunku. Before merger can be finalized, he puts forth a firm condition to Lee and the British.
He wanted the British and the Singapore government to act against the communist elements in Singapore first as prerequisite for merger, because Tunku didn't want to have to clean up.
The Brunei Revolt is the last straw for Tunku on the subversive elements in Singapore.
When there is evidence that the Singaporean radicals are implicated, at least in discussions, with the leaders of the Brunei Revolt. And so it seems this is obviously a moment to choose.
The stage is set for the Internal Security Council to act against Lim and his comrades. This list will forever change the face of Singaporean politics. Many of them are members of Barisan Socialists, who have long considered what their fate would be if the authorities cracked down on them.
What can you do? Go underground, join the communists? You don't want to do that. So go away, you don't want to do that either. Now what are your choices?
Dr. Ismail Abdul Rahman, one of the heads of the Internal Security Council, believes these arrests are necessary for the Malaysia plan to move forward.
Being in charge of security and having to protect the nation, I think it was quite difficult for him because he had to put some of his friends in jail.
More than 100 left-wing activists and politicians are arrested.
One night they came at very late in the morning and just took us all in. And I was taken to KL, kept in several police stations here. And eventually I was put in the detention camp in Muar.
Now, it's a big debate in Singapore whether those who arrested in Cold Store were actually communists, or was it a mix of communists and everybody else? I suppose it didn't matter, right? To the British, what didn't matter? What they wanted was not only to arrest communists, what they wanted was to leave a government that was stable.
Whatever the criticisms of Operation Cold Store may be, it paves the way for a merger with Malaya. Meanwhile, the Indonesian government is unhappy with these developments.
Pada bulan Februari 1963, Sukarno sendiri mengumumkan penentangannya terhadap Malaysia. Kononnya, Malaysia adalah Nikolim. Sarawak jadi sasaran pertama agresi Indonesia. Dengan mengganas di kampung-kampung sepadan, pihak musuh bertujuan hendak menakut-nakutkan penduduk yang tak bersalah dan dengan itu menentang Malaysia.
Despite the hostile response from his neighbor, Tunku decides to carry on with the Malaysia plan. First, he needs to get Singapore and the Borneo territories to reach consensus on a final agreement on Malaysia. This is to ensure their concerns and safeguards are incorporated in the newly drafted constitution.
It is motivated by a desire of Sarawakian before they joined Malaysia to make sure that a lot of things which they thought ought to be done our way, preserving our autonomy in doing things on the ground.
For people in Sarawak and Sabah, that guarantee of freedom of religion to them is very, very important. It's always repeatedly highlighted in all the discussion leading to the formation of Malaysia.
However, there are differences amongst UMNO members about the terms of merger with Sarawak and North Borneo. One of them comes from Said Jafar Alba.
Based on population ratio, they would have more seats than Peninsula that has got bigger population. So he said that should not be a basis. So Razak told him, if we don't do that, then this state will fear they don't want to join us.
And the challenges continue for Tunku.
When we proceeded with the merger, there were very important issues that were not settled yet with Singapore.
One of them is on financial agreement.
Singapore's Prime Minister is bent on federation, despite a sizable non-communist opposition to it. What Lee Kuan Yew will not do, however, is give up such vital powers as control over finance.
Well, I don't think we can relinquish finance. We're running nearly all our services as state services, except defense, security, external affairs. We've got to collect revenue to be able to spend it in the way we want.
Some people have said that it's Malaya which has made all the conditions in this merger and Singapore that's made most of the big concessions.
Well, I think we made considerable concession. They now feel that we were a little bit too harsh on the financial arrangements and so on. Well, they should have thought of these things.
Tunku has had enough of this negotiation. He places the responsibility of resolving these issues on his deputy, Razak Hussain, in London. After days of negotiation, Tunku is running out of patience with Singapore and Brunei. He directs Razak to call it off.
Tunku was not in a hurry, but Kuan Yew was. And the British, of course, has a time limit.
But Razak believes he can work things out with Singapore and Brunei. After a long week in London, Razak manages to convince the stakeholders. He sends Tunku a message to attend the signing ceremony. Yet, even at the 11th hour, there are outstanding issues.
Sultan Brunei pula, dia nak cari sebab masa itu untuk tak mau masuk Malaysia. Dia janji nak masuk, cari sebab tak masuk. Sebab pertamanya, dia nak jadi agung. Nak langkah atas kepala raja-raja lain yang kita ada ni. Karena dia ada kekayaan. Kita bukan memandang kekayaan. Kita memandang keadilan. Dah masuk Malaysia, ikutlah aturan undang-undang dan perlembagaan Malaysia. Masa sampai hak dia nak jadi agung, jadilah.
The Sultan believed that he would have to wait in line, and why would he want to do so? He didn't want to surrender control of the oil to Kuala Lumpur. He felt that, why would he want to subordinate Brunei, the Brunei kingdom, to a larger federation when, it was all working very well for him.
Razak proceeds to negotiate the final agreement with Singapore. But Lee Kuan Yew is tough with the British on compensation for a War Department land in Singapore. This has further stalled the negotiations.
Even many of things are written on the back of an envelope. Constitutional matters written on the back of an envelope.
At midnight of July the 8th, the Malaysia Agreement was initialed, bringing to an end the last vestiges of colonialism in Southeast Asia. It signaled the birth of the new nation on August the 31st, 1963, and the reunification of ancient lands and peoples long separated by the forces of history.
Datuk Panglima pergi membaca ketanah rata senja pulangnya. Kalau Saloma orang yang bijak, negara kita apa namanya? Kalau Saloma orang yang bijak, negara kita apa namanya?
Oh Malaysia, Malaysia. Oh Malaysia, Malaysia.
The Malaysia Plan incurs Sukarno's wrath. He declares a confrontation against Malaysia.
President Sukarno saw the Borneo territories as naturally extension of the Indonesian concept. Basically, he wanted to be seen as first among equals in maritime Southeast Asia.
Philippines President Diosdado Macapagal lends his support to Sukarno.
Manila felt that the territory of Sabah was at least part of the original Sulu Sultanate. If Sulu was part of the Philippines, then Philippines had an indirect claim to the whole Sabah, and that Malaysia should not be formed without consulting with Manila.
Indonesia, supported by the Philippines, dismisses the work of the Cobalt Commission. They demand a United Nations inquiry to determine the true intent of those living in North Borneo and Sarawak.
The Tunku didn't have a choice because these two leaders refused to accept the Cobalt Commission report, which is a British report. So they wanted a UN report, which is, as you know, more international.
Tunku decides to meet Sukarno and Macapagal in Manila to seek a solution.
I suspect these two leaders forced him into it and said, you want to go ahead with the federation? We want proof that these people actually want to join the Federation of Malaysia.
But Tunku's accommodation angers the British Prime Minister.
He was upset, I think, because he felt that Tunku was being weak. Tunku was having to ride two horses at the same time. He had to make sure that his relationships with Manila and Indonesia were good, as well as his relationship with Britain. And he was a regional power amongst regional powers, and one can see why the Tunku went along with that. Even though the Tunku may have tried to reassure Macmillan that it'll come out all right in the end, we're only doing this sort of face-saving exercise.
On the 16th of August 1963, two UN teams arrive in Sarawak and North Borneo to begin their tasks. But their work is withheld indefinitely. Lee's declaration angers the Tunku and the British.
Where is Lee Kuan Yew coming from? The British are flabbergasted by this. This is unconstitutional and there is no right whatsoever.
But the British eventually decide to ignore the issue.
Just leave it. Just do not try and confront Lee Kuan Yew on this one. It's just not worth it. We're almost home and dry.
After more than a decade, Malaya and Singapore are finally reunited. And now they bring with them two new territories, Sarawak and North Borneo, now renamed as Sabah. It has been 3 tumultuous years for the political leaders involved. Challenges have been overcome and tough decisions made. For Tunku Abdul Rahman, it was the ultimate test for him as the leader of the newly formed federation.
We're very proud that there is such a person in Southeast Asia achieving independence not through revolution or violence, but more by negotiation and by wisdom, by tackling day-to-day political problems and charting out an economic path for the nation right from the very beginning.
But it won't be the last crisis he has to resolve. 5 days after the inauguration of Malaysia, Singapore goes to the polls. The People's Action Party have kept their promise to merge with Malaya, and Singaporeans reward them at the ballot box.
And of course, the first thing that Lee Kuan Yew does, right, as soon as his local political opposition in Singapore are out of the way, is to start desiring an expansion to the rest of Malaysia.
Emboldened by their success, the People's Action Party now set their sights on new battlegrounds. The Malaysian capital city of Kuala Lumpur in the 1964 federal elections.
They contested in 9 seats, and all 9 seats were MCA seats. So this made it very clear that its aim was to displace MCA and project itself as a better partner for UMNO.
If they win enough seats, PAP will go into the coalition and replace the MCA. But UMNO is a party based on loyalty. So you can't break that loyalty.
Yeah, he crossed the line because he agreed not to contest the 1964 general election. He contested and only won 1 seat. He said he would be better. I'm quite sure he would have been better. But if he had done, the next thing he said, I want to replace you.
Lee Kuan Yew wants to spread his influence throughout the country. For him, this is his country.
So why should you restrict into Singapore?
Lee's action angers many members in UMNO. Recriminations become physical. Violence spills over into public areas. In July 1964, racial tensions reach a breaking point. Unwavered by this, Lee makes his next move. He campaigns for a non-communal policy under the Malaysian Malaysia banner. This is perceived to be a direct challenge to the federal constitution.
We decided to form Malaysian Solidarity Convention. I was sent out to Sabah and Sarawak to ask them to join, so they all came. And then we have a big rally in National Theatre. We won equality for all races.
The campaign aims to challenge the Malay and native rights of the country, rights that were initially agreed upon by members of the alliance. Unsurprisingly, Lee again upsets the members in UMNO. One of his fiercest critics is the Secretary General of UMNO, Syed Jaafar Alba.
He criticized the PAP leadership, Kuan Yew, without mentioning race. He was taking, if you read and see his speeches, he was saying, Sabah, Sarawak, if we all get together, we are more than the Malays. So he was actually playing on racial undertones, but camouflage in the beautiful Malaysian Malaysia.
However, his idea is not new to the Malays. Dato' On Jaafar, the founding president of UMNO, introduced similar ideas in 1951 to his Malay party. Those proposals catalyzed his downfall. Similarly, Lee's approach does not sit well with the Malays. Just 2 years earlier, leaders from Malaya and Singapore had cooperated well in forming Malaysia.
You may have a common objective for which you are prepared to work together. But once the objective is obtained, then there will be differences and we can accommodate each other.
The tension between the two parties reaches boiling point in the Malaysian parliament. In May 1965, Lee Kuan Yew stands up to make his provocative speech.
Lee Kuan Yew spoke in English. Suddenly he spoke in Malay. Off the cast, no script. I was surprised myself. And he could speak better Malay than many of the Malay ministers across. And they were so embarrassed, they sang down and announced the talk.
Tunku is pressed to intervene before bad becomes worse.
He was afraid that a repeat of the riot in Singapore would happen here and they would harm not only the relationship of the people of Singapore with Malaya, but also would cause a lot of misery and unhappiness. So he said if this thing persists, probably things will not go well for the future.
The stress proves to be too much for Tunku. He gets diagnosed with shingles while in London. Lying in a hospital bed, Tunku makes a very difficult decision. And the first person he informs is his trusted deputy, Razak Hussain.
I was waiting to see Tun Razak. Soon after I went in to see him, he said, he showed me this piece of paper. He said, see, Tunku has just written me a letter and he wants me to get rid of Singapore. He has not told anybody about this decision. So it's just his decision and he wanted me to implement it.
Tunku asks Razak to quietly make the necessary arrangements with Singapore's Finance Minister Goh Keng Swee about the terms for separation. When Tunku returns home on the 7th of August 1965, he makes public his controversial decision.
I mean, for me, it is a moment of anguish because all my life I had believed in Malaysian merger and the unity of these two territories. You know, as a people connected by geography, economics, and ties of kinship, would you mind if we stop for a while?
I think he failed to realize that he had to accept the political reality in Malaysia, and the political reality is Malay political dominance.
The news of the separation plunges the nation into shock.
There was no reason to separate. We were not wedded together long enough even to have enough evidence. It was more what we think could happen.
It took us a long time for us to form into Malaysia, you know. Now, why should you break up? Yes, we'll face difficulties. We have faced difficulties in Sabah and Sarawak also at the initial stage, but we didn't decide to break.
So much is lost by not having social and political cohesion among ourselves. So much. It's such a beautiful country. I'm one of the remaining ones of that generation. So when I look back and look forward, I feel sorry for it. It seems as though all that we did in the past has come to naught.
Perhaps Lee Kuan Yew was too ambitious for his own good.
One could never see Kuan Yew and Tunku working as a team, and possibly Kuan Yew was overambitious. I mean, like the island was too small for him.
Who wants to be Prime Minister of Little Island? He wanted to be Prime Minister of Malaya. And had he been patient, I'm quite sure he had played the game well, he might have become Prime Minister after Razak.
For Tunku's lieutenants, who worked hard to make merger a reality, separation was a difficult conclusion to accept.
He felt that separation was the lesser of two evils, that it offered the hope that with the parting of ways, both countries would be friends, and that one day the idea of merger would again be revisited when passions had cooled and when the bitterness had faded.
sejahtera. Apa khabar semua? Nampaknya anda semua ceria dan bersemangat hari ini. Masih ingat lagi dengan topik yang kita pelajari pada episod yang lalu? Dalam episod hari ini, kita akan mempelajari sambungan bab 6 iaitu langkah-langkah ke arah pembentukan Malaysia. Di penghujung tajuk ini, kita akan dapat mengetahui penubuhan Jawatan Kuasa Perunding Perpaduan Kaum atau JPPK, penubuhan Suruhanjaya Cobalt, cadangan Jawatan Kuasa Antara Kerajaan atau JAK, penubuhan Mafilindo dan perwakilan Malaysia ke Pertubuhan Bangsa-Bangsa Bersatu atau PBB. Tahukah anda, Tunku Abdul Rahman telah mengadakan lawatan ke Sarawak, Sabah dan Brunei untuk menerangkan konsep tujuan matlamat penubuhan Malaysia. Selain itu, rundingan telah diadakan antara pegawai Persekutuan Tanah Melayu dengan pegawai British dari Sarawak, Sabah dan Singapura. Hasilnya, beberapa tindakan proaktif telah diambil. Soalan saya, apakah langkah-langkah yang diambil ke arah pembentukan Malaysia? Langkah yang pertama ialah penubuhan Jawatan Kuasa Perunding Perpaduan Kaum atau JPPK pada bulan Julai 1961. Jawatan kuasa ini berperanan menerangkan kepada orang ramai tentang gagasan Malaysia, mengumpulkan pandangan penduduk dan menggalakkan kegiatan ke arah pembentukan Malaysia. Pada peringkat awal, jawatan kuasa ini terdiri daripada 6 orang ahli. Pengerusinya ialah Donald Stephen. Ahlinya ialah Tunku Abdul Rahman, Ong Yok Ling, Khir Johari, Lee Kuan Yew dan Datu Mustafa Datu Harun. Mesyuarat jawatan kuasa ini berlangsung sebanyak 4 kali. Diadakan di Jesselton, Kuching, Kuala Lumpur dan Singapura. Jawatan kuasa ini mengemukakan satu memorandum kepada Suruhanjaya Cobalt. Memorandum ini memberi pertimbangan kepada pandangan Sarawak dan Sabah untuk dimasukkan ke dalam perlembagaan baru. Tahukah anda apakah langkah kedua ke arah pembentukan Malaysia? Langkah kedua ialah penubuhan Suruhanjaya Cobalt. Tugas Suruhanjaya ini ialah meninjau pendapat rakyat Sabah dan Sarawak, membuat penilaian tentang pendapat berkenaan dan mengemukakan cadangan kepada pihak British. Suruhanjaya ini terdiri daripada 5 orang ahli, iaitu Lord Cobalt, Sir Anthony Abel, Sir David Waterston, Datuk Wong Pauni dan Tan Sri Ghazali Syafi'i. Suruhanjaya ini telah menerima memorandum yang dikemukakan oleh pelbagai pertubuhan. Pada bulan Jun 1962, Suruhanjaya Cobalt telah mengemukakan laporan kepada kerajaan British. Tahukah anda apakah hasil laporan tersebut? Menurut laporan Suruhanjaya Cobalt, 1/3 penduduk Sarawak dan Sabah menyokong Malaysia tanpa syarat. 1/3 menyokong dengan syarat kepentingan mereka dilindungi. 1/3 menginginkan kemerdekaan sebelum menyertai Malaysia. Suruhanjaya Cobalt juga mengemukakan beberapa cadangan untuk gagasan Malaysia yang akan dibentuk. Antara cadangannya ialah Perlembagaan Malaysia harus berasaskan Perlembagaan Persekutuan Tanah Melayu 1957. Sarawak dan Sabah diberikan kuasa menentukan dasar imigresinya. Bahasa Melayu dijadikan bahasa kebangsaan. Jaminan terhadap hak dan kedudukan bumi putera Sarawak dan Sabah. Pemberian nama Malaysia kepada negara yang baru dibentuk dan penentuan tarikh penubuhan Malaysia. Langkah seterusnya ialah penubuhan Jawatan Kuasa Antara Kerajaan atau JAK. Jawatan kuasa ini ditubuhkan pada bulan Ogos 1962. Jawatan kuasa ini dianggotai oleh wakil-wakil dari Persekutuan Tanah Melayu, Britain, Sarawak dan Sabah. Dipengerusikan oleh Lord Lansdowne, Menteri Negara bagi Tanah Jajahan. Jawatan kuasa ini juga telah bermesyuarat sebanyak 24 kali untuk mewajarkan kemasukan Sarawak dan Sabah ke dalam Persekutuan Malaysia. Turut dibincangkan ialah hak dan kepentingan penduduk Sarawak dan Sabah. Filipina dan Indonesia menunjukkan reaksi menentang terhadap pembentukan Malaysia. Jesteru bagi mengurangkan ketegangan, maka langkah seterusnya telah dilaksanakan. Apakah langkah tersebut ya? Perjumpaan dan rundingan 3 pihak telah diadakan di sidang kemuncak dari 30 Julai hingga 5 Ogos 1963 di Manila. Pemimpin yang terlibat di dalam perundingan tersebut ialah Tunku Abdul Rahman, Ketua Menteri Tanah Melayu, Sukarno, Presiden Indonesia dan Macapagal, Presiden Filipina. Hasil rundingan ini, Mafilindo telah ditubuhkan. Ketiga-tiga negara bersetuju mencari jalan penyelesaian dengan bantuan Pertubuhan Bangsa-Bangsa Bersatu atau PBB. Langkah yang terakhir ialah melantik perwakilan Malaysia ke PBB. Perwakilan ini dibentuk oleh Setiausaha Agong PBB iaitu U-Tan. Perwakilan diketuai oleh Lawrence Michael Moore dan 7 orang wakil lain. Tugas perwakilan ini ialah untuk meninjau sekali lagi pendapat rakyat Sarawak dan Sabah. Menjelang lawatan misi PBB, majoriti rakyat Sarawak dan Sabah bersetuju menyertai Persekutuan Malaysia. Kita semua seharusnya rasa bangga dengan pembentukan Malaysia. Anda semua tentu tertanya mengapa saya meminta anda mempunyai perasaan demikian. Sebenarnya, kejayaan pembentukan Malaysia memperlihatkan ciri-ciri kepimpinan tokoh politik pelbagai kaum di Tanah Melayu, Sarawak dan Sabah dapat menghadapi rintangan dan halangan untuk membentuk Malaysia. Malah kita juga harus bangga dengan diplomasi politik yang dijalankan oleh kerajaan di dalam menghadapi tekanan Parti Komunis Malaya atau PKM, Filipina dan Indonesia. Setelah pelbagai langkah dijalankan ke arah pembentukan Malaysia, maka Perjanjian Malaysia telah ditandatangani di London pada 9 Julai 1963. Ratu Elizabeth II telah memperkenankan Akta Malaysia yang diluluskan oleh Parlimen Britain. Pada 16 September 1963, negara Malaysia ditubuhkan secara rasmi yang merangkumi Persekutuan Tanah Melayu, Singapura, Sarawak dan Sabah. Tidak lengkap rasanya perbincangan kita tentang topik ini jika kita tidak mengetahui intipati Perjanjian Malaysia atau Akta Malaysia. Akta Malaysia telah memperuntukkan perkara berikut yang dimasukkan ke dalam Perlembagaan Malaysia. Semua urusan hal ehwal luar menjadi tanggungjawab Kerajaan Persekutuan. Agama Islam merupakan agama persekutuan. Agama lain bebas diamalkan. Bahasa Melayu menjadi bahasa kebangsaan. Bagi Sarawak dan Sabah, bahasa rasmi ialah bahasa Inggeris sehingga 10 tahun selepas Hari Malaysia. Sarawak dan Sabah diberi kuasa mengawal hal ehwal imigresen dan perkhidmatan awam. Sarawak memperoleh 14 kerusi manakala Sabah pula 16 kerusi bagi perwakilan parlimen. Bumi Betul Sarawak dan Sabah mendapat hak yang sama seperti orang Melayu di Tanah Melayu. Berdasarkan perbincangan tadi, kita dapat buat kesimpulan bahawa kejayaan pembentukan Malaysia adalah hasil kerjasama semua pemimpin dan rakyat di negeri-negeri yang menjadi anggota Malaysia. Walau bagaimanapun, Singapura telah keluar dari Persekutuan Malaysia pada tahun 1965. Sebelum kita mengakhiri topik perbincangan, elok kita rumuskan perkara yang telah kita pelajari pada hari ini. Melalui sesi pembelajaran tadi, kita dapat memahami penubuhan Jawatan Kuasa Perunding Perpaduan Kaum atau JPPK, penubuhan Suruhanjaya Cobalt, cadangan Jawatan Kuasa Antara Kerajaan atau JAK, penubuhan Mafilindo dan Perwakilan Malaysia ke Pertubuhan Bangsa-Bangsa Bersatu atau PBB. Jangan lupa untuk ulang kaji.